All right, so get this. We've got like a whole stack of articles all about Manchester United's Carabao Cup match and our mission to like dig through it all and find the absolute best parts for you guys. We're talking about, their big 5-2 win over Leicester City with Ruud van Nistelrooy, the interim manager leading the charge. Get ready for some surprises because we're diving deep into those standout player performances. And who knows, maybe we can even figure out what this means for Manchester United's future.
You know what I find really interesting is how this match really shows us like these hidden sides of some players and maybe, some areas where they really need to like step it up. It's not just about the score. It's about what's going on like beneath the surface,
Okay, let's break this down. Let's start with Casemiro. I mean, 2 goals. Talk about a defensive midfielder who's like breaking out of his shell. This isn't exactly what he's known for, is it?
Yeah. You're telling me. And these weren't just any 2 goals. That first one, that screamer from outside the box, I mean, it kind of suggests he might have more attacking tricks up his sleeve than we thought. Right. And then that second goal, classic poacher's instinct. It reminds me of his goal against West Ham. It makes you wonder, are we seeing like the emergence of a consistent goal threat from him and what that could mean for United's strategy? Just imagine, if they could really rely on that added firepower from midfield, it could like completely change how they approach attack.
Right. Total game changer. And speaking of like unexpected goals, can we just like take a moment to appreciate Bruno Fernandes finally hitting the back of the net?
Seriously, it was starting to feel like forever ago, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Especially after how many goals he scored last season. For him to go scoreless for so long, it was definitely making people wonder what was going on. But he got 2 in this match. One was a little lucky, a deflection off a free kick. But that other one, pure class finish. This could be exactly what he needed to like jumpstart his scoring,
Sure. And it's perfect timing too, that big match against Chelsea coming up. But here's the question. Do you think this is like the real Bruno back or just a temporary thing?
I guess that's what we'll have to see, right?
Yeah.
Because a confident Bruno Fernandes, one who's firing on all cylinders, he's absolutely key for Manchester United, especially with a new manager coming in. It'll be really interesting to see how Ruben Amorim decides to use him.
Okay, so it's not all sunshine and roses though, right? We got to talk about Altay Bayndır's debut. Andre Onana, he got a well-deserved rest, which gave Bayndır his chance to shine. But it was a bit of a bumpy ride, wasn't it?
Yeah, but we have to remember, goalkeepers need time to settle in, with a new team. But there were definitely a few moments that made you think, like those high balls, his attempts at catching them were a little shaky. And his handling, it wasn't always the most confident.
Especially that fumble almost led to Leicester's first goal. Definitely not the debut he was hoping for.
Exactly. I mean, it didn't end up costing them the match. But it does raise a question. Is Bayndır ready to really challenge Onana for that starting spot? This is something we'll be watching closely.
Now, let's talk about another newcomer, Manuel Ugarte. He started off with that lazy foul, got a yellow card. And you could really see his lack of pace on that play. But then later on, he makes some seriously strong tackles, like the kind we saw back when he was with Sporting CP. Talk about a mixed bag.
It was almost like he was trying to prove he deserved that yellow card. But seriously, you're right. It was a real mixed bag. Den Haag himself even said that Ugarte needs to work on his control of the game. And now with a new manager coming in, someone who knows Ugarte well from their Sporting days, it makes you wonder, will we see Ruben Amorim bring out the best in Ugarte? Will we see him help Ugarte improve quickly?
Yeah, it's definitely like an interesting little side story to this whole managerial transition. Speaking of which, there's a pretty noticeable difference in how Manchester United played under Van Nistelrooy compared to Ten Hag, Even after conceding goals, they didn't let up on the attack at all, which led to a much higher scoring game than we've seen lately.
Right, and you have to think, is this Van Nistelrooy, the goal-scoring legend, is he trying to instill that same relentless attack in his players?
No.
It's like he wants them to embody that never say die attitude when it comes to scoring. Could he be the key to unlocking even more of Manchester United's attacking power?
Yeah, it really is exciting to think about, but, we can't forget Amorim's official start date is still kind of up in the air. So who knows how long Van Nistelrooy will be in charge. It'll be interesting to see if he can keep up this, free-flowing attacking style going. Or things will change when Amorim takes over. It's a real cliffhanger for sure. But no matter who's in charge, the players still got to, perform. And speaking of performance, Casemiro's got 3 goals in 2 games now. Not bad for a guy known for his, defensive skills. It's like he's discovered some hidden talent.
He's really blowing past expectations. Makes you wonder if this attacking side of him was always there, just waiting for the right moment to come out, you know?
Yeah, maybe Ten Hag's system kept him a little more restricted, focused more on that defensive stability, but maybe Van Nistelrooy gives him more freedom to move forward and join the attack.
That's a good point. And it seems like that freedom has helped Fernandes too. It's like a weight's been lifted off his shoulders.
Yeah.
Those 2 goals against Leicester were classic Bruno, you know, decisive, impactful.
Totally. That first goal, even though it was deflected, shows you how dangerous he can be from set pieces. And the second one, just a beautifully taken finish. It just oozed confidence, you know. This could be the spark he needed to get his goal-scoring form back.
I agree completely. And while we're talking about goals, let's not forget about Garnacho's contribution. That kid is really starting to come into his own.
Yeah.
That link-up play with Dalot for the second goal, that was something special.
He's got that youthful energy, you know, and that fearlessness that's just so exciting to watch. It's almost like watching a young Ronaldo in the making. But okay, enough about the attack. Let's switch gears for a minute and talk about the defense. Because even though the scoreline might not show it, there were definitely moments, especially in the first half, where Leicester exposed some weaknesses at the back.
Yeah, you're right. Bandier's hesitation with those high balls and just his overall command of the penalty area, it was a bit worrying. I mean, I get it, a new goalkeeper needs some time to adjust, but those are definitely things he'll need to improve on if he wants to compete with Onana for the starting spot.
And it wasn't just the goalkeeper either. There were times when the whole backline looked a bit disorganized, letting Leicester create some dangerous chances. Remember that scramble in the box that almost led to their first goal?
Oh, yeah, for sure. You know, the defensive strength was like a signature of Ten Hag's team.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see if Amram focuses on strengthening the defense or if he sticks with this more attacking, free-flowing style that Van Nistelrooy seemed to prefer.
Yeah, it's a tough choice, isn't it? Like, do you go all in on attack and risk leaving your defense open?
Yeah.
Or do you, like, tighten things up at the back and maybe lose some firepower up front? Finding that balance is, like, the key. But it's not just about, you know, tactics, it's about the players too. And what we're seeing at Manchester United right now is a really cool mix of, you know, those experienced players and some exciting young talent.
It's kind of like a changing of the guard, you know? You've got players like Casemiro and Fernandes leading the way. But then you've got these young guys like Garnacho and Mainu right there on their heels, ready to prove themselves.
Yeah.
It creates this really dynamic atmosphere, I think.
And then you add the new manager into all of that. Amarim coming in is definitely going to shake things up. He's known for being really flexible with his tactics, and he's got this way of like getting the absolute best out of his players. It's going to be so interesting to see how he molds this Manchester United squad, you know, to fit his vision.
Especially when you think about his history with Ugarte. It's like they've got this understanding, you know, from their time together at Sporting. It makes you think, can Amarim unlock Ugarte's full potential? Can he turn him into like a real force in that midfield? I mean, we've seen glimpses of it, but can he be consistent?
That's the big question, right? Ugarte's still young. He's got a lot of room to grow. And with the January transfer window coming up, who knows what other players Amarim might bring in? It's a pretty exciting time to be a Manchester United fan, I'd say.
The transfer window is always a wild card, isn't it? Will they spend big money on some big name players? Or will Amarim focus on developing the talent they already have and building that team chemistry?
Either way, the next few months are going to be a roller coaster ride, that's for sure. This Carabao Cup win has given them a taste of victory, but the real challenges are still ahead. You know, the Premier League, the FA Cup, the Champions League. Can they keep this momentum going and turn it into some actual trophies?
Only time will tell, I guess. But one thing's for sure, Manchester United are back in the conversation. They've got that renewed sense of purpose, you know, that hunger to win. And that makes them a dangerous team to face no matter who they're playing.
So there you have it. We took a deep dive into Manchester United's Carabao Cup win. We looked at those key performances, and we thought about what it all means for the future. We covered the highs and lows, the uncertainties. It's been a wild ride. But now we want to hear from you. What were your biggest takeaways from this match? What are your hopes and dreams for Manchester United this season? Let us know in the comments, and let's keep this conversation going. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep diving deep.